Hi, everybody. This is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion, your host, the Hut, and welcome back to the Baseball Hut for one more game. The Mets won tonight, unbelievably, 12-6, and just keep it rolling. This is not going to be easy. This is a very difficult team to go up against, and the Mets were able to sort of put their stamp on this series to at least get back to Los Angeles. I was so dreading today. I know you all were. You didn't want to see the club. Didn't want to see the club lose again. We've seen so many times over the last 20-something years teams celebrating on the Mets field, and that did not happen tonight. So that is the best thing that could have happened tonight. Now got to get Game 6, and that's not going to be easy in Los Angeles against the Dodgers. And they're going to send and that's going to have Sean Manaea going. They're going to throw a bullpen game. And we'll see what happens. But it's quite the interesting turn of events here. If this was Pete Alonso's last game as a Met at home, he certainly did a great job tonight. I've been saying for 4 years, this guy's a clutch hitter, and he disappeared for the last 2 years until the last 2 weeks. This is the third home run. They said this is the third home run that he's hit in an elimination game, a 3-run home run, an elimination game, and he had a fantastic game tonight. Went 2 for 4, he scored 4 runs, drove in the 3 runs in the first inning. That got the Mets right off on the right foot because they didn't have that in the first inning. This was going to be a very difficult game. Even though Jack Flaherty took one for his team, he didn't really. I mean, he outpitched the Mets on Sunday when the series opened up. So the Mets again, Mets are right where they need to be. The Dodgers did what they wanted to do. They wanted to take 2 out of 3 from the Mets at home. It is not ideal, okay? Would have been nice if the Mets had gotten one of these other games. A couple of things about the Met pitching staff, particularly in the starters. All 5 starters walked 4 batters in each of the games that they pitched. Senga walked 4 batters. Manaea walked 4 batters. Severino walked 4 batters. Quintana walked 4 batters. And tonight, David Peterson walked 4 batters. If it wasn't for the Met offense, we would have had a major problem again. And coming into the game, the Mets were 4 for 26 with runners in scoring position. They basically destroyed that number tonight. Big clutch hitting by Pete. Big clutch hit by Winker. Big clutch at bats by Jeff McNeil. And a huge game by Starlin Marte, who drove in 3 runs in this game, had 3 doubles in this game. Just an incredible performance offensively. The Mets need to score a lot of runs against the Dodgers. The only way they're going to beat the Dodgers now. I think I see that now. And they have to score runs on Sunday. I would also say this, that it's going to be very difficult because the Mets have done poorly on Sundays during the season. And Game 1 started on Sunday and Game 6 is Sunday. It's a weird quirk of the season. But I think the Mets need to jump out in front in that game on Sunday if they're going to have a chance to win. And the 2 games the Mets have won, they had a lead early. They had the 1-0 lead in the first game and in the second game, and now tonight with the 3-run home run by Pete. And obviously we had that big 5-run inning in the third. Let me just go through this because so much happened, and I keep score very differently than most people. So let me just go through this. Now, meanwhile, please, of course, hit the subscribe button and like this video. If you're happy, like the video. If you're happy the Mets won tonight, hit the like button. So it started in the 5th inning. In the 3rd inning when the Mets scored the 5 runs. Pete Alonso led off the inning, walked. Jesse Winker walked. And Winker had a big game. I've been saying for days, and a lot of people have been saying for days that he has to play. Okay, he has to start. I think that JD Martinez is done as a player. He has done nothing over the last month, and his swings and his approach at the plate has been terrible. And every at bat that he's had. He's been behind the count. Jesse Winker, excuse me, he also wrote. He walked. Starling Marte had a 2-run double, scored Alonso and Winker. Then we had, then that's how they got the first 2 runs. Then we had the RBI single by Alvarez, and then we had the RBI triple by Lindor, and then the RBI single by Brandon Nimmo. And if the game had stopped there, they would have won 8-6. They kept pouring it on. The Dodgers scored a lot of runs, but I didn't really feel too nervous about this game, about what was going on in this game in terms of the Mets. Once the Mets scored those 8 runs in the first 3 innings, I was like, they're going to win this game. It got a little nerve-wracking because Pajas was hitting home runs, and they seemed to get to be very chippy in the middle of this game, especially after that first home run that Pajas hit in the 4th inning. There was sort of a lot of chirping between him and Alvarez, but that seemed to sort of subside a little bit, and then the Mets started getting hit in this game because of all this back and forth. But we'll keep an eye on that. The Dodgers did not have had a very contentious series against the Padres, so just keep an eye on that for the next game on Sunday. They did have this sort of back and forth with the Padres, but that's their hated rival. The Mets aren't so much. I'm very happy tonight that the Mets were able to play Jeff McNeil. He went 0 for 3 in this game, but he had 2 good at-bats that scored 2 runs that added on runs. Professional at-bats, and I thought that was very important. He had much better at-bats in big spots than our buddy Jose Iglesias. The Mets should not start Iglesias now. Jeff has had enough at-bats. He's not a home run guy. He's a contact guy. He's a put-the-ball-in-play guy. The Mets should not be playing every day Jose Iglesias. The way he was playing during the season, where they brought him in, filled in, have him come in late in the game is fine. But Jeff McNeil is a guy who's won a batting title. He should be playing every day until you go down with your best. Jeff is a better player than Iglesias, and he should be playing. And you saw in these 2 at-bats, he had good at-bats. All his at-bats were very good at-bats. Hit the ball hard. And the 3rd and the 4th at-bat, he drove in runs to give the Mets these tack-on runs, and they desperately needed it. To be honest with you, they really, really needed it in this game. Now, meanwhile, let me announce the chat. Hello, Tiago Gomez. Big Q, 1977. The Mets bullpen makes scrubs like Andy Pajas look like Mr. October, Reggie Jackson. I would mention Pajas is a rookie. He looks pretty good, in my opinion. He's got a great arm. He's going to be a good player. There's no reason to disrespect him, and they didn't win the game. The whole thing about Reggie Jackson, folks, was that the A's and the Yankees won the game. Pajas did not win the game. He was an annoyance in this game tonight with this attitude of flipping the bat. Hello, Martin Conde. Let's go. Mets terrific win. Mets season already is a fantastic success. It was a fantastic success once that ball went over the fence in Atlanta. Hello, Rocky Marciano. Hello, Muttley and Love. What's up? But, again, the Mets have to hit if they're going to win. And I've said that for many years now. I feel like a broken record at this point. The only way the Mets are going to win this series is if they hit in these games. Because the Met offense is pretty good. I mean, they chipped away. This wasn't like a situation they outpowered the Dodgers. I mean, they just kept chipping away. Other than the 3-run home run by Pete. This game was a chip away. Also, I want to mention this play in the first inning. They're showing it now. Is there something wrong with this Ohtani fellow? You had 2nd and 3rd and nobody out. And that dope doesn't go home on a ball when the Mets have the middle of their infield back. The shortstop and the second baseman are playing regular on where they regularly play. And the ball wasn't hit that hard. And Ohtani's he was like a statue. He moved less than he does when he's showboating around the bases. Not a winning player. I would mention this. Maybe the Dodgers win. Maybe the Dodgers don't win. Them being here has less to do with him and more to do with the system of that the Dodgers have as a team and as an organization. They've been winning for many, many years before he showed up. He's just a contributor to that team. And to be honest with you, he's not had a great series. He had that big home run the other night, last night. But beyond that, he has not had a good series against the Mets. I know he's got on base a lot, but when they need him to do smart things and have play, do winning baseball, he's a little shaky. In what I've seen. Robert Becker says Diaz looked really, really good tonight. Yes, he was throwing hard, and he was throwing strikes, and you could tell with his energy. When he's ready, he gets that ball, and he wants to throw that sucker in there. He don't waste time. When he's feeling it, he's not muttering on the mound, puttering around. He's not skulking around on the mound, and he did a great job tonight. And the Met bullpen, aside from the home run that Garrett gave up to Pajes, and the home run that Stanek gave up to Mookie, the Mets pitched 5 1/3 innings of baseball out of the bullpen. The Mets struck out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 batters to get the last several outs of this game from the fourth inning on. Ryan Stanek came in, pitched 2 1/3 innings, struck out 4. The Mets walks in this game were 5 walks in this game. So it's 36 walks in the 5 games of the series. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. And I wouldn't mention Francisco Alvarez, who I was hard on, but since Mendy talked to him, he is 4 for his last 5 at-bats. So since he stuck up for him, that's the value of this manager, is that he's loyal to his players that get him there. But he was smart enough to know that Jeff gives him a better chance of winning, and that Winker gives him a better chance of winning, and when Alvarez gives him a better chance of winning. So he's going to play the best players, which is great. He finally figured it out. Because I was flipping out the last couple of days, especially with Iglesias up. Iglesias, I want to bring it up. He hasn't had a good series, okay? And he's not played well the last few weeks, in my opinion, to be honest with you. And looking at his career numbers, his OPS plus is 91, which is 9% below the average of a major league player. Our average major league player is 100. His is 91. And I thought that it showed over the last few weeks. And the OPS has not been great. He's not walking. It's very difficult to have a bat like him in the lineup when runs are scarce. He's not had a good defensive series against the Dodgers. And this is not, this is a pitching staff that's much better than the last 2 staffs from what we've seen so far. And I would say I'm glad that he didn't play tonight, because I would have been flipping out if he was playing tonight. Now, I hope that he'll be playing. He won't be playing tonight, Sunday night. We'll get a chance to see Jeff back out there. Jeff is a difference maker down at the bottom of the lineup, because Jeff can hit the ball out of the ballpark. He can put a good bat together. He's going to make contact. He's not going to strike out. He's much quicker, around the bases than Iglesias is, and he will do the job. He will do a good job, in my view. And he showed tonight. Those at bats doesn't seem that big, but in my opinion, he brought runs in and he drove runs in. He had good at bats and all of his at bats, and that's very important, obviously. All right, Francisco Lindor had a big game for my girl. It was great to see that. Went 2 for 4, had an RBI triple, and scored 2 runs. Had a very good game defensively. Everybody's going crazy before the game when they played when the Temptations came out. That was great to see. Wish they'd show it on TV. I had to go look on X to find them. Brandon Nimmo, tough guy, had 1 for 4, had that RBI in the 5th inning. Scored a run in the first inning on the home run by Pete. Mark Vienna's the one guy that didn't have a good game, but he's been carrying the Mets offense. He went 0 for 5 tonight. Pete Alonso obviously had 2 hits in this game, scored 4 runs in this game, hit the big home run tonight, saved the Mets again. Again, Dave Kingman never did this, folks. I've been distracted for the last 4 years having to defend Pete Alonso. Dave Kingman never did this stuff. And I'm going to spike the football when it comes to being right about a player. I was taking hits after hits, and so were a lot of people defending him online. Now, the general Met fan that go to the ballparks love Pete. He loves being a Met. He loves the fans. He loves us. But there are a lot of people that are traumatized by Dave Kingman from the 60s and 70s and 80s. They can't let him go. And when they see a big right-handed bat that strikes out a little bit, they have like these flashbacks to Dave Kingman. And it's great to see that Pete has drawn it in their faces to shut them up forever. Big home runs by Pete, no bigger than one than tonight, and no bigger than the one that hit Milwaukee. So to see him be able to do this again, it set the tone tonight. Once Pete hit that ball out of the ballpark, that was the tone setter. Big time, stone cold tone setter for this game. And I don't have to talk about next season. Because I really don't want to talk about next season, folks. I really don't at this point. I want to talk about now. I want to talk about Sunday. And, of course, hopefully we'll get a Monday game. Hopefully. That is I keep my fingers crossed. I will say this about the broadcast. I hate this. I hate when they show the fans in the stands. They're all like this. Are these two women? Do you see the two women with their fingers crossed? It's like, what's with you people? That stuff drives me nuts. You know, I know that they're trying to do, but it's annoying already. And it annoys me on every broadcast, by the way. Drives me nuts. Starlin Marte had 4 hits. Huge game. He is 9 for 21 in this series. He's having a big series. Big series for him. That is huge. And according to Jeremy Berman, he's right. McNeil and Marte are difference makers, especially in terms of role players. Jeremy Berman says this: Manaea is going to be pitching Sunday, and if the Mets get there, Luis Severino will be pitching on Monday. I don't remember who they said was pitching on Monday if we get a Game 7 for the Dodgers. I know they're doing a bullpen game on Sunday. But I don't know. You got to let me know in the comment section who's pitching for the Dodgers. I forgot who they said. And that's a big reason why they left Flaherty in this game. He didn't want to learn his bullpen until, for Sunday, because he's going to have to use that bullpen. And he really didn't have much, and he wasn't throwing that hard. Oh, well, too bad. Oh, no, I need a drink. Look. All right. And meanwhile, please subscribe and hit the like button. Tomorrow we get a day off. There'll be content on here. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know. I'm going to be out in the evening, so I won't be able to do videos for you in the evening. But there'll be videos later on the Baseball Head 2 and tomorrow on the Baseball Head 2. Maybe I'll do something after this live stream. We'll see. But again, the Mets have to get better starting pitching, or they're not going to be able to win this series. Joe Manaea has to pitch, get the Mets into the 6th inning, and they got a shot at winning the game and tying the series. Being down 3-1 in a series is not an impossibility to win a series. Okay? That's happened many times in baseball. Not too many times, but it has happened. But the goal is to get to a Game 7. And once Game 7 rolls around, then we see some butts getting very tight on the Dodgers side. the underdog Los Angeles Dodgers. The underdog Los Angeles Dodgers, who said that they've had injuries and basically they're underdogs. The team is spending $1 billion. They're underdogs. Oh, we're the underdogs in this series. It's us versus the world. They're supposed to win. They didn't want to go. They didn't want to go back to Los Angeles. To be honest with you folks, okay, to play Game 6, they wanted to win that game tonight, and the Mets jumped on them, and now they got to play Game 6. Dave Roberts does not want a bullpen game on Saturday, because if they get a bullpen game, and the Mets win that game, every hand on deck on Monday for deciding Game 7. And I would hope the Mets wreck that club's pitching on Sunday. And if they do that, that team is not going to be in great shape. If the Mets win on Sunday, then in all likelihood, the Mets would have gotten 6 innings out of Minaya at least, and they would have held back some of their better pitching, and that meant that the Mets wrecked that bullpen. And it won't matter who pitches on Monday. Jeremy Burns says the Dodgers picked up the 2 best players in the offseason, underdogs. I mean, really. And they picked up Tyler Glasnow. Oh, Tyler is hurt. You don't understand. Baseball, you don't understand. We're the underdogs. We're them bums from Brooklyn. You've been in Brooklyn 70 years. This ain't the 50s, man. This ain't the 50s, man. When the Dodgers were the underdogs, the perpetual underdogs. Meanwhile, the team's flying into New York on a player-only flight. Management wasn't there. The coaches weren't there. The front office had to take a separate plane. Have you ever heard of that? Or what unity for that club? I could tell you what the discussion was during that flight. It's like, listen, guys. It's probably what they were talking about. And Otani's probably saying it to them in English. He's like, listen. We're going into New York, okay? We're going up against a team of destiny with the Mets. All right? We can't fool around when we play the Mets. All right? We can't fool around like we do with the Padres. Okay, the Mets are there seriously. Mets have superstars on their team. They're talented. Do we want to be another victim that the Mets have thrown by the wayside over the last 2 weeks? They wrecked the Braves season. They wrecked the Brewers season. They wrecked the Phillies season. Do you want that to happen when we go into New York? So let's go in and pretend to be underdogs, And we got to make sure we play our best against them, because if we make mistakes, the Mets are going to jump on them. And the Mets have not played well in these games, other than tonight, defensively. But the Mets jumped on the pitching tonight, and the Mets got to do that on Sunday. The Mets have to jump on that pitching in the first inning like they did in Game 2. You have to put the team on the road, when you're the road team, on the defensive. The best way to do that is score runs in the first inning. And the Mets need to do that. Mets don't do that, they're not going to win the game and win the series. That's what they have to do. Get a lead out early in the game like they did tonight, like they did in Game 1, and just pile on the runs. And hold on for dear life. The Dodgers do have a weird history over the last 10, 15 years of blowing it. Okay? And they have so much pressure on them. So much pressure on them that's coming from Major League Baseball to get to the World Series. They cannot fail. Okay? That is a team that cannot fail. The Mets can fail. The Mets lose. It was a great season. Everybody will be saying that. The media will be saying that. We'll be saying that. The players will be saying that. But if the Dodgers lose, folks, it'll be looked as a disappointment. And then people will start questioning Dave Roberts. Like, look, we brought in all these great players and you lost. And they're not going to care that he won 4 years ago, by the way, over in a 60-game season. And they were down 3-1 against the Braves, I guess. I didn't even pay attention to that postseason. I guess they were down 3-1. So they've done that themselves. And when you live by the sword, you die by the sword a lot of times. So the Dodgers cannot lose this series. In all honesty. Mets have nothing to lose now. They got the Game 6. I was hoping they would win this thing in 5 games. Now we got to go 6 games to get to a game 7. I felt pretty good about it, but I felt good about it until the last 2 nights. But the Mets got back to Los Angeles, and that's the key. Then it gives you a real good shot to win win this thing, and even the series, and then anything can happen in Game 7. I would like to see some close games, which would be nice. But the Mets can take a punch. We know that. That's the one good thing about this club is that they can take a punch. Can the Dodgers take a punch? I don't know. Because their past has been very shaky with this particular group. If they don't take a punch well, okay? They've won a lot of games since 2021, and they've gotten beat every time. The other team that beat them hit them hard, and they stay down. 3 years ago, the Braves hit them. The Braves had no business getting the postseason 3 years ago, and they punched them and they didn't get back up. And this team doesn't have nearly as good pitching. They're not Clayton Kershaw in this rotation, though he wasn't a good postseason pitcher, by the way. But David B says no strikeouts. Do that again. There's hope. Oh, okay. The Met pitching has to do one key thing: no walks. Tonight was the fewest walks in this series. They walked 5 batters tonight. Improvement. Because they've been averaging like 7, 8, 9 walks in these games. Let's see, 7, 8, 7, and 9. 31 walks in the first 4 games, and 5 tonight. That's 36 walks in the first 5 games of the series. Broke a record of a postseason series. But again, the Mets have been very lucky to even win 2 games because of how poorly they've pitched in terms of the walks. I mean, they walked 8 batters on Wednesday and on Tuesday. I mean, Monday. I'm getting all screwed with the days because they missed the schedule up. It's not traditional days that they're playing. It was unusual that they won on Monday because they walked 8 batters. But this was a great night. I'm glad that the Dodgers did not clinch tonight because it's just an annoyance. I mean, the last few times the Mets have been in this spot, we've seen teams do it. The Padres did it. The Padres stink. The Giants did it in 2016. They stunk. The Royals did it in 2015, and the Mets were a better team, and they beat the Mets, and the Mets had every lead in that game, in that series other than Game 2. The Yankees did it back in 2000. It's like enough. I didn't want to see that again tonight. That would have really made my skin to crawl tonight. But that didn't happen. That did not happen tonight. I'm glad. I would mention that Edwin Diaz did not really throw a lot of pitches in this game, so he's fresh to go for Sunday. So that's good. Stanek pitched great tonight. He'll be ready to go. That guy's a beast. I know he gave that home run to Mookie, but to be able to sort of, carry it on, I'll tell you, Winker had such a good game tonight. Play him again on Sunday. Play him again Sunday and play him on Monday. I don't care if the lefty's going. He's putting good bats together, unlike J.D. Martinez. Hold on, I need a drink. Look. Winker is 6 for 19 with two triples, a home run, 4 RBIs, and a 1203 OPS. That's all against right-handed pitching. He's doing what he's supposed to do. This is what a role player does. So and he did not have a great September, by the way, but he's had some really big hits for the Mets this postseason. I give him a lot of credit. I wasn't a big fan of the trade when they brought him in here, but he's played really well for them. I'm very happy. Nunez, I think 3 home runs for the Mets. Ain't that walk-off one of the home run and the home run the other day or in the last series? So he's had a very good run here. Now, Sunday, I would think the Mets are playing at 8 o'clock. And they'll send Manaea against their bullpen. Like I said, what the Mets need to do He's got runs in the first inning. Really, really push that bullpen to the edge. Score a ton of runs. That's why he was holding back. He was, he grinded Flaherty into the ground. Okay, because he knew if he pitched poorly tonight, that he was going to have to go to that bullpen, and if that happened, then he was going to be messed up for game 6. They didn't want to do that. But Mets need to get Manaea into the 6th inning. That is the key to the game. It's one of the keys to the game on Sunday. Get Manaea into the 6th inning. Really beat up that bullpen the first 3 innings of that game, and hold on, hold on for dear life. Try to get the last 9 outs of that game with Stanek and Diaz, or maybe just over the next 4 innings, which they did tonight. I mean, they brought in Stanek in the 5th inning. I mean, got the last out in the 5th inning, pitched the 6th inning, the 7th inning, and then Edwin came in the last 2 innings. That's probably what they're going to try to do on Sunday. And Stanek looked good. Other than giving up that home run, he looked great tonight. He was really throwing hard and very energized. Garrett was shaky, but, that's what Garrett does. And he walked the batter, in that 5th inning in the middle of all that craziness with Pius. But did I miss anything tonight? It was good it was good to see that the Mets did not lose tonight at home to the Dodgers at home. Music Man says, would you play McNeil or Iglesias on Sunday at second? Yes, I play McNeil. McNeil's playing the rest of the series. Iglesias is he's getting stuck on the bench. He needs to stay on the bench. Hold on a second. Hold on 1 minute. Yeah, McNeil needs to play now. I think McNeil's at bats are fine. He needs to play. He needs to play Sunday, and if there's a game 7, play game 7. He's a better player than Iglesias. Iglesias is a role player. Jeff is a star player. Okay? There is a big difference. There is more potential there to have better at-bats and better play, and more potential there with Jeff. Tadford says, Winker is a beast. Dude missed a home run in his last at bat. He missed a home run on game 4. Would have put the Mets within one run in that game. Danny Jim says, we won, guys. I was in L.A. Monday for the Mets win last week. Let me tell you, Dodger fans are bums and fair weather fans. We can win. Absolutely. We know that. We know that. Fair weather fans. How's the ballpark there? I heard it's a dump. I heard Dodger Stadium's a real dump. That's what I've heard. I know somebody that went there a few years ago. See the Mets play the Dodgers, and he told me that I asked him, what's Dodger Stadium like? He says it's a dump. Nelson Cruz says, has there ever been a 12-run ball game be a nail biter? I think that the 1960 World Series was like that, if I remember right. There's a lot of runs scored in those games. Man, let me think of that. Let me think. And the games the Yankees won in that series, I'm going back so far. That's the first game that came to mind. First series. All the games that the Yankees won in that series, they destroyed the Pirates. They out-hit the Pirates, outscored the Pirates. But the Pirates won all the close games. So I guess that doesn't count. I think Game 7 was a nail-biter with a lot of runs scored. Nelson Cruz said, I read that all right. Hey, Nelson, there's something wrong with YouTube? They don't like you? Because whenever I want to write back to you, they I don't know, they say it's always an error. I never blocked you, so I don't know why that's on there. David B says, play Jeff. He will carry the game. Well, I wouldn't go that far. But Jeff has good at-bats. Jeff is a star player. Okay? People have sort of forgotten that. He won a batting title 2 years ago. I don't know what the deal was last year with him. Maybe the deal with him maybe being a father again was a problem. The first half, a lot of stress there at home. But then that second half came, boom, and he was ready to go. He was the old Jeff, and I thought his at-bats were very good tonight. Those two at bats where he drove in the 2 runs, the sacrifice flies were key. He did something that Iglesias didn't do, which usually says he makes contact. Iglesias makes contact, but it's soft contact, and you can strike him out, and you can ground him into double plays. Jeff is tough to double up. 1, he's fast, and 2, he's a left-handed batter. He's closest to first base. Okay. Jeff's a good player. And Jeff should be playing. He should have been playing the last 2 games to be honest with you. He should have been playing in Game 3. He should definitely playing Game 3. And he should have been pinch hitting Game 3 in the 6th inning, and again last night in the 6th inning. Iglesias should only come in now for defense for the Yantos. That's what he's been doing all year. That's what he needs to do in this series now moving forward. Do not play him. If the Mets are to get onto the World Series, play Jeff. Jeff will win the game with his bat and with his glove. Play him the second and leave him alone. You can't take Marte out of the game. He's been hitting like crazy. Right now, he's the Mets' best hitter. So you play Jeff at third. Unless, of course, there's a problem with Nimmo and his foot. He came out late for defense. They moved Tyrone Taylor into left field, and they brought in Harrison Bader for center field. So the Mets just have to play their best lineup on Sunday and let the chips fall where they may. They got their best pitcher going. He's the best pitcher in this series. He's been one of the best pitchers in postseason. He's been the best pitcher down the stretch the last 2 months. Okay. Mets get a good performance from him. He gets him into the 6th inning. The Mets will win the game. That's your baseball Hut's guarantee. The Hut's guaranteeing it. If we get Manaea into the 6th inning on Sunday, the Mets will win the game. And that seems like a stretch with this pitching staff. Cut the walks down. Enough of the walks. Wasn't it sweet seeing Stanek strike out Ohtani? Oh, that was nice. That was nice. That was nice. Music Man says, then we go to a scary Game 7. It's not scary for us. It's scary for the Dodgers. Because like I said, the Dodgers keep telling themselves that they are the underdog. Okay? The underdog doesn't lose a 3-1 lead in a series. Okay? They don't do that. Underdogs don't do that. Underdogs do what the Mets are trying to do. Okay? And the Mets play better when they're underdogs. I think we all know that. It's so weird how the Mets are. They have to be underdogs to win. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know why they're like that as an organization. They've been like this since they created the Mets. But so the biggest thing, Jeremy Berman says, beating the Dodgers in 7 would be a nice overdue payback for the 1988 NLCS. I mean, we'll say, let's worry about Game 6. I mean, I'm talking about Game 7, but let's get to Game 6. Let's get that game. Let's get that best pitcher going, Game 6. And it will be interesting to see how they finish the game, how they finish this series out. I would mention that Reed Garrett had a big pitch against Freddie Freeman in the 4th inning. Because they had the bases loaded, and they looked like they were trying, and the Mets were up by 8-2, and they were trying to rally. It was great to see Freddie strike out. It's another piece of garbage, too. Another jerk that we've had to deal with all these years. He's a nice guy, though. He's a nice guy. But, that was nice to see him get struck out. And that was huge in that spot. And then the Mets got a couple more runs. And then, of course, Gary gave the home run to Pius. But that's all right. The Mets had an 8-5 lead at that point. I still didn't feel nervous. Even when Mookie hit the home run off of Stanek, I felt pretty good. Felt pretty good in this game. So now please hit the like button and please subscribe as we discuss this Game 6. Game 5 and Game 6 coming up. And again, tomorrow we get a day off. Get a day off tomorrow for us. At least we get a game off. and a relaxation, a little bit of rest, and can watch what the Yankees are doing. Let's see what's going on in that Yankee game right now. I think they were winning before. Let's see. Yankees won 3-1 against the Guardians. The Guardians won an unbelievable game last night. You watched it. What's interesting about that series now is the Guardians have hope. And the Yankees had a chance to put the series out of reach. And if you're on the road and you have a 2-0 lead, you cannot lose a game 3 against a team like that. Now they're winning right now 3-1. But they took quite a hit in game 3. So it'll be very interesting and amusing to see if the Yankees lose tonight. All the Yankee fans will be all pissy. My relative, who's a big Yankee fan, was all pissy last night. Because he's like, "Oh, you're just 2 bad pitches." Yeah, 2 bad pitches. You lost the game. But that, and his thing, Cleveland's very loud. The Yankees have had sort of a mixed bag history there. They'll play the Guardians/Indians, and sometimes they'll win it, and sometimes they'll lose it. Music Man says we need a Subway Series again. No, we don't. No, we don't. I don't. The first one was annoying, and it was one of the most unmemorable World Series in history. The 2015 World Series was more entertaining and interesting than that World Series was. From what I understand, the Yankees wanted no part of that series because Steinbrenner was driving them crazy. They didn't want to lose to the Mets. Because Steinbrenner was obsessed with the Mets during the 80s. He was so pissed off that the Mets were great. And he was obsessed with beating them. That's why he signed Doc Gooden. That's why he signed Darryl Strawberry. That's why he had David Cohn on that team. He was obsessed with them. And he drove that Mets team crazy. And the Mets drove him crazy. And he drove his team crazy when it came to them playing the Mets. They don't have that issue. The man says, "You rather the Mets versus Cleveland?" Sure, why not? Baseball wouldn't like that. Baseball wouldn't like that because baseball's pushing Ohtani versus Horseface in the commercials. Ohtani versus Horseface. The gambler versus the horse, And so I'm not really for any Subway Series because it's just an annoyance. I'd like to be able to have the spotlight solely on the Mets. Okay, that's what was fun about the World Series in 2015. Was that everything was focused on the Mets. The Yankees were sitting at home, crying, and their fans were crying. And the Mets should have won that series because they had 3 games that they had late and they blew them. Game 1, 4, and 5, and they should have won that series. But that was much more memorable than the Yankee series. 2 outs in the 3rd inning. Jose Ramirez just popped up. But it would be sweet to see the Yankees fans all PO'd about their team going home. And then they didn't want to admit to it, but that made them very nervous last night. Because teams that lose don't lose games like that. Or don't win games like that. Teams that lose a series lose games like that. And that Yankee bullpen is not a good bullpen. That's a beatable bullpen. The Dodgers will rip into that bullpen. The Mets will rip into that bullpen. Mets ripped into that bullpen during the season. And that pitching staff during the season. The Guardians are a little shaky offensively. Which is why that series is 2-1. They had to beat that bullpen late. Thor says LGM. It's true. That's right. But It's going to be interesting to see if tonight was Pete's last game with the Mets. Because if the Mets lose on Sunday, obviously that's it. But we'll see. He is finishing up very strongly over the last few weeks. So he's left a very strong mark with all of us. And that's nice to see. He's a good guy, from what I could tell. I know the media, specifically WFN, don't like him. And they complain that he doesn't get big hits. He finally got big hits, and they still complain that the Mets should sign him. So something personal between Spaz Licata, in particular with Pete Alonso. It's got to be something. It's got to be something. It's got to be personal, not business. It's got to be. It's got to be personal with him. Because every Met fan loves Pete, except for the one. Music Man says, how much do you think Pete's home runs in postseason affect Mets re-signing him? Well, I think it puts a lot of pressure on the Mets. I think it puts a lot of pressure on the Mets to sign him because obviously the emotion behind it. I mean, the Mets were going home in Milwaukee. I mean, the Mets were dead in that game. You hadn't scored a run. The Brewers were shutting them down. They were going up against Devin Williams. He's the best closer in the National League. The Mets had no shot. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. The Mets had no shot to win that game. No reason to win that game. That ball's going to fall in. The run scores for the Guardians. It's now 3-2 Yankees. Thor says we're so happy for Pete tonight. So I think that Mets signing Pete, it's a lot of pressure onto ownership and onto David Stearns. He is the best first baseman on the market. He's better than Christian Walker. He's a better hitter than Christian Walker. Bigger power hitter than Christian Walker, even at this stage. And he's younger. Paul Goldschmidt is past his prime. He's going to be a free agent. Rice, dumbass Hoskins. I wouldn't sign him. Keep him away from the Mets. He's a jerk. I don't like the way he plays. He's one of these baseball players that is disrespectful to the Mets. So really, Pete is the best player on in the market at first. He's going to have a lot of teams on him. The Cubs, the Brewers, the Mariners. Quite a few teams are going to be on him. So, and Pete didn't have a great year. I mean, he hit 34 home runs, but he didn't really have big moments until the postseason. But that home run tonight was huge. The home run in Milwaukee was just incredible. As soon as he hit it, he knew it was gone. Now the home run tonight was weird because he hit it, and after like 5 steps, the center fielder, he just sort of stopped. A Music Man says, I think if Mets lose out on Soto, they'll be forced to sign Pete. No, I don't think that way. I don't think it's an either-or situation. I think they're separate situations. I think they could do both. They got so much money coming off the books. Music Man, I think they'll do both. I do think that I said this last night. They need a 3-hitter on this team desperately. Vientos is not a 3-hitter. Brandon's not a 3-hitter. Okay. They desperately need, and they need a left-handed thump in this lineup. They get some of it from Lindor, but he's now the leadoff hitter on this club. You leave him at leadoff now, permanently. Brandon Nimmo should be back 5th or 6th in this lineup, or 2nd in the lineup, and they need a left-handed hitter for next year. Again, about Vladimir Guerrero Jr., I don't like Vlad. Paul Bay. All right? I don't care. You're going to have to give up players. The Mets aren't going to do that. You're going to dump your farm system for a first baseman. You're not going to do that. So this is what everybody's going to be talking about is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. God. They had a chance to trade him. They didn't move him. I know he had a big year, but the team was terrible. They're going to take one more shot with that group with him and Bichette. He's not getting moved. They're going to reload that team. Guerrero Jr. is not going anywhere. If he is, it'll be at the trading deadline. If the Blue Jays don't do anything. So that is not going to happen. He's not getting moved. If he is, I'd be shocked. And if he gets moved, it won't be to the Mets. The Mets are not giving up any of their prospects for him. They're not giving up Jet Williams. They're not giving up Brandon Sprout. They're not doing any of that stuff. They're not. God. Last name was the same thing somebody asked me about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And he's not a free agent. I know he's younger, but I'd rather have Pete here. There's a connection here. Pete has the most value. Pete has the most value with the Mets. Right now, Vladimir Guerrero's value is most with the Blue Jays. Pete goes to another team, they won't appreciate him like we do. Although the older fans don't appreciate Pete, they hate him because he's not Keith Hernandez. I saw a picture on Instagram today. There was a signing with the 86 Mets. And because I followed Daryl on Instagram, not on the baseball. I don't have a baseball account, but I followed Daryl on there, and he posted a picture of him with Keith. Keith is walking with a cane. Did Keith get surgery on his legs or something this offseason? But he was walking with a cane. They had him standing there with a cane. Oh, Keith is all right. I was surprised to see that. Be very upset if I saw Keith Hernandez with Keith Hernandez. Thor says Vientos has been such a great surprise this year. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you keep him at third, and you move Beatty. Music Man says we got a third baseman for the next 10 plus years. Absolutely. People can say, well, you know what? You got to move Vientos to first base and put Beatty at third. Then you gotta figure out. Then you got to figure out who's going to. You're going to have a trial by jury, with Beatty. You're going to try him out again at third. At least he didn't catch the ball with his face this year, like he did last year. Jeremy Burns says Nimmo has some of the worst numbers batting third. Yeah, he's not a three-hitter. He just tries too hard. He just tries to be like that three-hitter that drives runs in instead of being who he is. That's why I'd rather bat him second or bat him low in the lineup. But like I said, the Mets are going to need a three-hitter next year. And see what happens with the Yankees. If the Yankees get beat by the Guardians, or God willing, the Mets beat the Yankees, they will be desperate to sign Soto. They will be beyond desperate. If they get beat by the Guardians, I don't think Aaron Boone will last. I don't think Aaron Boone will live past this series. Last. I'm all right. He'll not get past this series if they lose this series to the Guardians. He will get fired. And Brian Cashman should be on his way out, too. He's been there way too long. Guys, he's a weird little guy. Brian Cashman. Right now in the Yankee game, the Yankees win 3-2. In the third inning, 2-2 count to D. Schnellman. Foul ball. Luis Hill is pitching of the Yankees. Let's see what happens in this inning with the Yankees and the Indians. Excuse me, the Guardians. D. Wilson says, we are not dead yet. Just remember. I think we all know that. Mets aren't dead until they're in the grave. They were in the grave last night. I don't like that feeling. Well, they were dead after 5 games. Doris says, what other teams want Beatty? Absolutely. There were all kinds of rumors that the Rays wanted him. The Rays. I'll have a video on the Baseball Hut too, probably after this live stream, which I'll post. And the Rays don't have a ballpark. That unbelievable storm that went crashing into Tampa Bay ripped the heart of ripped the roof off of Tropicana Field. It's not a bad looking park without that roof, but they don't have a ballpark because they said that there's a lot of problems structurally, that the water hit it so bad that that's not safe to even go in. It should be abandoned, not abandoned, but it should be condemned. Yeah, Gilda struck out Schnellman. Yeah, he wasn't going to get ahead here. So on to the fourth inning. Todd Licata says Beatty would be Kalonic. Some team will pick him up, but they won't give up much. Well, I thought that, and I felt this way for a while. I didn't think he was that good. At first, I thought he was good. But you need time to watch a hitter after a while. I know his first at bat was huge, but after that, not much. And I thought his even though his defense improved this year, there's a reason why he finished the year in AAA. Because he was struggling, and he was struggling for a long time in AAA too. I think a lot of that had to do with confidence. But some team will pick him up. He was a number one pick. And he's 22, 23 years old, 24 years old. But he's not getting Vientos out of this lineup. And he's not taking over third. Music Man, do you like Stanek for next year's pen? I'm not worried about next year. Let's worry about Game 6. That's a little too detailed. And the bullpens change anyway. Let's change their bullpen. They picked Stanek, before the trade deadline. And they didn't give up much for him, So, it doesn't the bullpens change anyway. I'm not going to worry about that. The most important thing, two things they must need going into next season. One, get Edwin Diaz to come back, be healthy. And so most home runs in Mets postseason history. Daniel Murphy with 7, Pete with 5, and the great Mike Piazza with 5. So Pete Alonso, who's considered not to be clutch, has 5 home runs in postseason. By WFAN. Assholes. So I'm not worried about next year. They need a lefty, and they need Diaz to be good. Steve Sophie says a bit cliche, but never say die. That's right. Thor says Budo has not been what I thought he was going to be. Budo's a starter. That's why next year will be very interesting what they do with the starting rotation. Because they really don't have anybody. They have Budo and they have David Peterson. Manaya is going to opt out. We know that. I don't know what they're going to do with Severino. I think Quintana's going to be out of here. The Mets have some pitching coming up, bubbling through the surface. Thor says we need Christian Scott to show next year. No, he's not going to show up. He injured his arm. He's out with Tommy John surgery. See you in 2026, God willing. But the pitching, especially the starters, are going to be younger. It's going to have a younger staff. Music Man says re-sign Manai. Well, we'll see. We'll see. The way he's pitching, he's going to have so many teams on him. The Yankees are going to go after him. The Dodgers are going to go after him. The Rangers, the Cubs, the Red Sox. He's going to have a real big market. The Blue Jays. He's going to have a huge market. The only big team that's not going to be in on him is the Mariners. Because they have good pitching throughout this, not in the major leagues, but their system. But Manaya is one guy that could possibly be back. I would not resign Severino. I would not bring back in time. And Paul Blackburn is going to be a free agent after next season. So at least I have 2 guys that are going to be in the rotation right now. But the Mets have a lot of young pitching coming up to the system. They have Spruder's the one guy. Jonah Tong, talked about him last night. Talked about Music Man says, but we can put a qualifying offer on him. Who's that? Who's him? You got to specify. I don't think that happens with Minaya because Minaya will had an opt-out. I don't think that qualifies for him because he already has a contract for next year. But no. Minaya will not have a qualifying offer on him because he has an opt-out. He has a contract for 2 years. What sense does it make to give him a qualifying offer? So you're going to pay him more money on a qualifying offer? I think he's got $13 million. He's going to be looking for like 25, I would think. He's going to look for 25 for 5 years. So there's no qualifying offer for him. Sobrowski's pitching for the Guardians against Giancarlo Stanton. Well, it's good to see he's out of ICU. This guy I always hurt this guy. He's always hurt. He's had a big postseason. Bigger postseason than Horseface, and he's always hurt too. Torres, how old is Minaya? He's 32. But he's left-handed. Lefties take a long time to develop. That's what's happened with David Peterson. I know Peterson didn't pitch well tonight, but you could put him in the rotation next year. That you could certainly see them doing that. And the Mets are going to have a lot of options. Blake Snell is going to be a free agent. I'm not big on him, but he's a good pitcher. Corbin Burns is going to be a free agent. He's an ace. He's a guy that you can build your rotation around. He knows David Stearns. David Stearns knows pitching. I think we kind of know that now. I said that when the Mets brought him in. That the Met pitching was going to be better. But the walks are just ridiculous. Music Man says, you wouldn't re-sign Quintana, right? No, I wouldn't. He is 35 years old, 36 years old. And the thing about Quintana is either he's really, really good or he's really, really bad. And he goes through these stretches where he does that. Early part of the season, he was lousy. And in the second half since August, he's been great, except for last night. We saw the worst of him last night. That wasn't a good matchup for him anyway because he has to live off the plate. He's good pitching against a young team and a team that swings wildly like the Phillies do. So I would not bring back Quintana. You could do better. He is a professional. He takes the ball. He got mad when the Mets said they were going to not pitch him. And he was able to help the Mets get the postseason. But I would not bring him back. That I wouldn't do. But we'll see how that plays out. We've got so much still to go through till Sunday. The big things I want to see for Sunday is get Minaya into the 6th inning because that's key. It makes it a lot easier. Cuts the game down. Start Winker on Sunday. Start Jeff McNeil on Sunday. Put out the same line they had tonight. They scored 12 runs. Why mess with it? This is a Dodger team that can be beat. Okay? They're going with a bullpen game on Sunday. The all-powerful underdog Dodgers are going with a bullpen game on Sunday. Just think about that for a second. So there is no reason with this lineup that they can't have good at-bats and just outscore the Dodgers. The Mets offense is just as good as the Dodgers lineup. I've been very surprised at how good the bottom of the lineup has been in this series. Stoney814 says, hi, I wish we'd seen this offense last night, but I'll take it tonight, absolutely. All the Dodgers had to do was take 2 out of 3 at Citi Field. How you get there doesn't matter. Okay? Now, it is tough to be down 3-1 in a series and come back. But they weren't down 3-0. They were up. They were tied after 2 games. So there's been plenty of series, and the Dodgers can attest that you can lose a series. They lost the series against the Braves 3 years ago, and they were up 3-1. I'd be very careful. I wouldn't worry about next year with Winker. Winker is a role player. Depends on what kind of club the Mets are going to put together for next year with their lineup. Their lineup is going to be different next year. A lot will determine if the Mets keep Pete, Soto's here. They might not. They might look at Winker as a way of just saying we don't need him. And I don't know. I don't think that Martinez is going to be here next year. Again, I'm very annoyed that he hasn't hit in the last month and a half, because this is a guy that has been a killer. Has been a killer in postseason and against good pitching. And really he has not performed well over the last month and a half. And he was such a big part of this whole thing, and to see him sort of fizzle. I don't know if he's dealing with an injury. I don't know if the back has acted up on him. But he does not look the same as he did. Martinez was good up until the last month and a half. And it's funny, he said if he would have a year where he hit 20 home runs and 75 RBIs, he would look at that as a disappointment. He's done worse than that. But the Mets are just going to have to play Winker tomorrow, play Winker on Sunday, and on Monday if we get there. And he does look old. He is 36 years old. So, there's certain guys I look at them and I don't see value there for next year. Iglesias is another one. I know people have this emotional tie with the song, and he's played great during the season, but the season's different than now. And you see the warts because he's going up against better pitching. And you see the offensive incapability of being able to hit the ball hard and not being able to not strike out and hit the ball on the ground when they need him to hit a fly ball, which is what he did last night. But like I said, that's for Monday. I hope I don't have to talk about that Monday. I'm talking about it now, but this was a fun game tonight, and we'll get them on Sunday. That's what we want with Game 6. They didn't clinch at home at Citi Field. And that's a first step. And this team has been the underdog since they were 0-5. They were the underdog when they traded Scherzer and Verlander and Mark Hanna and Eduardo Escobar and all those guys from 22. And they've been hammered here. And they're still the underdog. They were 0-5 when they started the season, 22-33. They were the underdog. They were the underdog against the Braves when we went down there. They had to play a stupid doubleheader. When Dor saved the season, they were underdogs against Devin Williams. Again, Pete Alonso saved the season. They played great against the Phillies, and now they're still the underdog against the the true underdogs of life, the 2024 Los Angeles Dodgers. And their $400 billion payroll. An irresistible chicken sandwich had this to say. Came back from the Bay Plaza and saw the game from and back home. What a momentum shift for the Mets. That's true. Thor says, who would have thought would have been here? I thought the Mets would have won 80 games. They won 89 games. I would mention this about the team. They won 101 games last year. And that should not be forgotten. I know that a lot of people said, that didn't count. That didn't mean anything. It means a lot. Because there was the basis of talent there and the basis of quality there. And that quality did not go away. Sony 14, Starling Marte hit 4 out of 4 hit game. His first 4-hit game in the playoff rate. He's played really well. That's what they missed 2 years ago. Raul, stop saying that, Raul. For God's sake. Music Man says that you think Mendoza should be manager of the year. Raul, stop saying stuff like that. You're going to jinx it. You're going to jinx it, man. I don't want you jinxing it. You've been writing that. I want to delete the comment with all due respect. I don't want to jinx anything. You think Mendoza should be manager of the year? Music Man says yes. Absolutely. Not over this Pat Murphy, who he outmanaged, by the way, in that series. He outmanaged him. We don't know that. Yeah, I mean, Raul, please stop writing that. I appreciate people leaving comments, but don't write that. Stop writing that. Don't jinx it. Hold on, I need a drink. Don't jinx it. I won't even say what he said. Raymond Azap, do you ever go to a game? Well, it's funny you should mention that. I did go to a game about a month ago. I drove to Philadelphia, and I watched the Mets completely destroy the Phillies. And I met a subscriber down there, and he treated me. And we've been at odds online, but he's a very nice guy, very generous. I pray for him and his family. He's dealing with a lot of problems at home. That's why he's very sick. So, but I have been. Do I ever go to games? Yes. I haven't gone to a game in a while. I was going to go to the last 2 years. I've been trying to find a game to go to, but I'm picky. I like going at the last minute. So I like to go during the day, during the week, or I used to, and just drive to Citi Field, or Shea Stadium when it was there. But couldn't find a game to go to. The last game I went to at Citi Field was the 9/11 game where the Mets played the Yankees. Thought, do you ever watch Bros, the Phillies guy? Yes, I saw him. What's the matter with that guy? That's all an act. That's all an act. Him acting like that, it looks like it's pre-recorded. It doesn't look like it's natural. It looks fake to me. I've seen some of his reaction videos. It all looks fake. It looks fake to me. Yes, Stoney, I'm drinking tea at the moment. I don't drink alcohol. Yeah, so I drove down to Philadelphia about a month ago because my subscriber, who's another YouTuber, his subscribers wanted me to go down and sit and watch a game with him. I was hoping to have him come up here, but maybe next year, but I don't think that would be a good idea with his wife. He cannot be too far from home with her. But I went down there. I drove by myself. I was hoping one of my family members come with me, but he had to do something for work that weekend, so he couldn't go with the host. I would have had him drive. I had to rent the car. I rented what was it? The hell did I drive? I drove an SUV down there. 5 hours to go down there. 5 hours to come back by myself. Never done that before. It was interesting. Less aggravating than driving Long Island, I'll tell you that. But I got good parking there. The parking was really good. I parked in the Eagles lot, and that's right across the street from Citizens Bank Park. And I met my friend as I was walking to the ballpark. He called me. He's like, "Are you here?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Just meet me in front of the first base entrance. I'll meet you." I was like, "All right." So that was fun. We had great seats. We sat behind the Mets dugout. He picked the seats. He's like, "This is your game. We're going to sit behind the Mets dugout." We did a live stream on his channel. His subscribers asked me all kinds of questions about other stuff online. But I had a great night. It was a lot of fun. And then later in the game, a ball got hit over behind us. It hit the front of the press box and landed right in front of him. And he gave me a baseball. I have that picture on here on the community. Riemann says, "Who's your favorite player on this team?" I like Pete. He's my favorite guy. Newsman says, did you have the famous Philly cheesesteak? My friend Ethan says to me, he goes, you're in Philadelphia, you should eat a Philly cheesesteak. So I said to him, "Is it any good?" He's like, "No." I was like, "No." He's like, "No." And you know what? It sucked. He was right. Oh, was disgusting. It was disgusting. It was so gross. It was really, really nasty. Thor's so bad. Then later on, his son was there, and his son's friend was there. So the four of us were sitting there at the ballpark, and his later on they ordered hot dogs, and he's like, "Yeah, Hud, you take one." I was like, "Oh, I hate hot dogs." And it was cold, you know. It wasn't even like a City Field hot dog. City Field food is really good. That food sucked. That food sucked. Stony814 says, how many hours did it take you to get there out at Hut? 5 hours, man. Long drive. After 1 o'clock, I got there at 6. 5 hours back. I've been to Philadelphia once before. I went down there with Old Man Hut. We stayed for a couple of days during the 4th of July. Mets were playing there back in the 90s. I guess 96. And I didn't drive then. We took Amtrak down there. That's an hour and a half ride by Amtrak. So, you know. So we went down there. We went to a game. Trying to think the days. It was around the 4th of July. Trying to think. It's so long ago, but I do have a good memory. The Mets lost that game. The next night was the night that Alonso hit for the cycle. That's how long ago it was. Irresistible chicken sandwiches. I was on the Sunday game for the Phillies. The steak sandwich and home run ice cream with vanilla sprinkles was great. You can't mess up ice cream. The only way you can mess up ice cream is if it's freezer burned. Dana Jim says, Dodger Stadium, they're the oldest ballpark. Wrigley, Fenway, and Dodger Stadium. Okay. Riemann Azep wants to get my bio here. Yeah, I mean, he wants my bio. No, I'm not from Long Island. I moved out here about 6 months ago. I'm from Queens. Serve foul player Brooklyn. Great win, King Hut. To California we go. I was, as my other guys, I used to wear a disguise. And I was going to come on here as the Hut Burger, but I can't freaking find it. I know it's in a bag or a box in here. I can't find it. I was going to come on here as the Hut Burger. We're talking about how because I saw somebody dressed up as the. All right. I'm going to put you in a timeout. You're getting to be too much. Ridiculous. You're ridiculous. I know he's joking away. Get the hell out of here. I just give you my social security number, my date of birth. My goodness. Send you off on a temporary time out. Man. Dana Jim says, and the seats were old there. It's an old park with some old tacky areas, yeah. That's what you're gonna find. That's how Shea Stadium was getting. Like the seats, like the metal part when you sit and you hold on to it was like, ugh, It wasn't very clean, If you hold down onto like the banister going down off the upper deck, it always felt funny. They didn't clean it right. City Field's not like that. I don't know it's from the metal that they used back in the 60s, and it got like that over the years. But that's the one thing I didn't like about Shea Stadium. Everything about Shea Stadium was great except for that. And I sat everywhere at Shea Stadium, everywhere but the bleachers. Press box, upstairs, behind the plate, everywhere. But that I never sat there. That's the one place I never sat was in the bleachers. City Field, I don't think I've sat everywhere at City Field yet. I know I haven't sat in the right field porch. I know that's very steep. I've heard that. I sat a lot behind the plate by the booth where Gary Keith and Ron are all the time. I sat there about 5 years ago. Those are great seats. You see everything. Fifth inning is over. Yeah, I mean, this Riemann guy is getting a little bit obnoxious now. It's anything bad. That just annoys your host. I'm not like everybody else. I don't take the abuse. I don't take that kind of crap. Surprised he didn't call me Rob, which some of the real dummies do. Now, of course, please hit the subscribe button and like this video. I'm going to go for a few more minutes. I didn't think I'd be on this long. But it was a good win tonight. That's what they had to do tonight. And it's still alive. Still kicking chicken. Still kicking chicken. Now, tomorrow, no game. Again, after this live stream is over, I'm going to post my video on the ballpark in Tampa. Because I have a thumbnail for. I don't have a thumbnail for this other video on the free agents on the other channel. I got to create one. Everything's sort of kind of at a standstill. So if you've been following me on the prospect channel, I don't have any prospect news for you. So I did this stupid video on Mayor Adams. I thought that video would do well. Bombed. We don't use that emoji anymore, Stoney, because that was the official emoji of the channel until the official emoji before the Mets started playing well. But we don't use that emoji so much now. I wouldn't even use that if they lose on Sunday, by the way. I would mention, I don't know what my schedule is for work next week. So I don't know if I got to be working early on Sunday. So I don't know if there'll be a live stream or any kind of video for you. I don't know. Haven't gotten that schedule yet. Should have it tomorrow. Hopefully I don't have to be at work too early. Do a video for you or a live stream for you for Sunday night. And Monday, I think I'll have to be up early. We'll see. Well, I don't know what emoji you use for happy. I mean, that's not what. I don't know what a good emoji is for happiness on YouTube. I don't know. Let me take a look at the options here. And I'll go into the chat.
Golfers breaking records.
Damn sound. Now, in the meanwhile, please, of course, like this video and subscribe. Well, now, if you're a member of the channel, you get these great emojis. I should post them, put them up here. We got Mr. Met, believe it or not, Casey Stengel, and Mookie Wilson. This is a Mr. Met kind of emoji, I think. Yeah, we'll put up Mr. Met. He's pretty cool. So you want to become a member of the channel. You get these emojis. You can be able to put these emojis. I didn't think I could do this here. But if you want to become a member, that's what you could do. And Mr. Met's the best one. Thor says this. Any ballparks you want to visit that you haven't? Yes, 2. I like to go to Wrigley Field, and I like to go to Fenway Park. Like I said, back in the 90s, used to go to all these different ballparks with my father. And he wanted to go to Wrigley Field. I wanted to go. But back then, there was like no hotel walking distance to the ballpark. So we couldn't go because I really wanted us to go, and he did too. And I didn't drive then. So it would have been very difficult to run back and forth from a hotel to the park. That was the place we wanted to go. because there was no place really to do that. It was tough, but let me pin this in the pin comment. Yeah, so if you become a member, you can use these different emojis. These are fun emojis. Mr. Met. Also have the Hut Father. I also had the Hut Father too. It's just emoji of Don Corleone. Or in this case, the Hut Father. Hut Corleone. So this is the kind of stuff I have on here that's a lot of fun. So you want to become a member of the channel. It's a little extra fun for the channel if you want to become a member. I do have a couple of videos on there. I'd love to have more members on. And it's a great way to support what I do here. I don't do too many live streams, but it would help me out a lot. You don't see these kind of emojis anywhere else. I had them made. Another YouTube, what the hell is his name? Casey? I think he still does videos on the Mets. Also have a store you can check out. Then you find the link to that. Now, meanwhile, please, of course, like this video and subscribe to the Baseball Hut. Let's see. It's annoying. Let's find these links. It drives me nuts. Now, yeah, so you want to become a member, you get these different emojis, and we have a store here. One of the more popular items I have is these mugs that do really well. Let me send you a link. I can find it here. All right. Let me put the link in the chat. See if I can get it in here. Yeah, so this is the shop. You go in here, you hit the link, you see all the stuff I have on there. Dora says, listen to Howie Rose. I've met Howie Rose. He's met me. I'm not going to say where, but, I've met him a couple times. The first time I met him, he was a great guy. Second time, he was annoyed by something that had nothing to do with it. But he was a really nice guy. He was nice to talk to. Really would hope to get him on. I'm not too impressed with too many things, but I love Howie and I love Gary Cohen. Howie would love to get on the channel. If I see him, I'll try to get him on. This last time we talked, I couldn't get him on. There's no way. He was too ticked off that day. Stony814 says, are you going to do any Mets off-season stuff? Hell yeah, of course. God willing. If we're still here. If we're still here, you'll also be doing everything, just the regular off-season. But it'll be more than just the regular off-season because the Mets are going to be in on all these big players. Right now, the Yankees are up 3-2 in the fifth inning. I think one of the Naylor brothers is up. Riemann says, you think we'll see Root in the majors next year? Yes. Yes. I'm going to be doing all kinds of stuff on the Mets. I'm going to do all the prospect stuff. All that stuff's going to pop up again. We're going to do everything that we always do here. Second the Mets season's over, God willing to get the World Series, to win the World Series. And we'll do all kinds of stuff. Talk about who they're going to sign, who they want to bring in, trades, prospects, everything. Changes to the coaching staff, because there's always changes to the coaching staff. That's needed to get rid of the pitching coach. Okay. So, the Mets have a lot of work to do for next year. But let's worry about Sunday. And that's just a preview. Someone says I met P. Alonso at a barbecue joint in St. Louis. He was alone. Great guy. That's good. He always comes across as a nice guy. I have a relative who met him a couple of years ago. Ran into him in a hotel in an elevator. I took the elevator somewhere. Now, of course, please hit the like button and subscribe. I think I'm going to end the live stream. I wanted to go a little bit longer. I didn't really want to go longer. But I guess I'm not sure if I'm going to be here for you on Sunday. And I don't know what kind of videos I'll have for you tomorrow. So, but there'll be plenty of stuff on the Baseball Head too. So you'll have stuff there if you subscribe there. So, going to end the live stream now. I want to thank you all for coming by. It was a great chat. A great win by the Mets. Excellent win by the Mets. And, of course, we'll get them on Sunday. Hope we get to a Game 7. And all the pressure is on the $1 billion underdogs known as the Los Angeles Dodgers. They've not been an underdog since the 1950s. They are the big team in California. But according to those delusional players, they are the underdogs. Well, underdogs don't lose a 3-1 lead in a 7-game series. And you live by the sword, and you'll die by the sword. Thank you for watching this live stream, and of course, I thank you for coming by. Please subscribe to the Baseball Hut. Have a good night. Hope I'll see you Sunday, and I'll see you later.